Hello, my name is Ash, a counselor in training. This is my Relatable study podcast for individuals who need help studying for their NCE, CPCE, and other related counseling exams. I'm going to go through many questions from multiple resources and make the answers relatable to both you and me. So get your listening ears on and let's get studying.
A child in counseling reports being hit by his father. How should the counselor proceed? A. Gather information and report Child Protective Services regardless of credibility. B. Evaluate whether his allegations are credible. C. Request that his father attend the next session to proceed the allegations. D. Continue checking in with him to get more information. The answer is A. Gather information and report Child Protective Services regardless of credibility, because when a child reports to the counselor that he is being hit by his caregiver, we must gather all the necessary information and report it to Child Protective Services because the child may be in danger of being abused at home. What is a supervisory alliance? A supervisory alliance is the collaborative bond and trust between the supervisor and supervisee in clinical training. When I was in my internship, I had 4 supervisors. The first one asked a lot of questions, and I was trying to find answers for those questions, but I never got to see clients, and we had a difficult time bonding. The second supervisor ghosted me, and we never built that collaborative bond or trust. The third supervisor really wanted to help me out, but we couldn't meet on that collaborative bond. And the last supervisor, we made that collaborative bond and trust, and we were able to work out ways to help me gain experience in a collaborative setting. In a culture fair test, A. Items are known to the subject regardless of their culture. B. The test is not standardized. C. Culture-free items cannot be utilized. D. African Americans generally scored higher than whites. The answer is A. In a culture fair test, items are known to the subject regardless of their culture. The culture fair intelligence test was developed to measure intelligence without cultural biases. I recommend doing a little more research on culture fair tests because what I pulled up gave me several different definitions and or resources for culture fair tests. What is a supervisory relationship? A supervisory relationship is the professional connection that guides counselor development through feedback, evaluation, and support. For example, when I was in my internship, I had a supervisory relationship with my supervisor. I went to them for guidance, evaluation, feedback, and support. And according to some research, there are 4 guiding principles that are presented for supervisors' engagement with their supervisees, and they include offering emotional presence and sensitivity, developing a relationship to support continued professional and personal growth, valuing both vulnerability and competence, and offering knowledge and experience with humility. And reflecting on my personal experiences, my last supervisor I had met a lot of these qualities, and we were able to have a good relationship in the professional context. A coherent narrative reflecting the counselor's theoretical orientation, the integration and synopsis of assessment data, and the client's diagnosis is known as A. Case conceptualization, B. Functional behavioral analysis, C. Biopsychosocial assessment, D. Interdisciplinary consultation. The answer is A. Case conceptualization is a coherent narrative reflecting the counselor's theological orientation, the integrative and synopsis of assessment data, and the client's diagnosis. I do remember having to write one case conceptualization about a client of mine and present it in my field placement cohort class, and my supervisor reviewed it for me to make sure I had the accurate information from the client I was doing their case conceptualization about. I gathered the client's background, their history, their diagnosis that they could have, their problems, what orientation I was using, what techniques or skills that we were going to work on, and potential goals for this client. That is what I included in my case conceptualization. That is all 5 questions for this episode. Thank you for listening. Keep calm and study on.